that one's great because I really feel that if you look at people like a mirror to yourself and their behaviors that bother you, you could just, and we talked about this before, but you could
So
turn
many.
around and see what's going on with inside. And that's some of the hardest stuff to do because it is so much easier when you're at a certain vibration to just judge people and say they're the wrong ones because it alleviates you from having to do the work and having to take personal responsibility. And it's again, it's like a step-by-step process as you go along. And I think the more that you do this stuff, you start to change your vibration and you start to spiral up. And like I said in last week's episode, that there could be other forces, higher beings, maybe beings that have gone through this and they're in a different realm, or how did Fortune say it? A different dimension, like higher.
Yeah.
It's possible that they can see us and that
Yeah.
they could assist us, just like ones below us maybe could see us and help to pull us down. Because at the end of the day, if you're in the world and you're engaging in an action, forces I think are going to come to your aid no matter what you're doing. That are those, they're going to help you go up or help you go down. So that's a really good one because then you could start to do it really for yourself. You start to look at things like a mirror for yourself, and then you never know what doors are going to be open for you. The secret pathway, allegedly. I'm still looking for it. No, I think we're on it.
Yeah, you were saying about a mirror and everything. And I recently, the reason I chuckled and laughed was because I just, before we started recording, I just asked a friend to look at a person and just tell me what was bothering them about them. Like, kind of like mirror it back on yourself. What is it about that bothers you? And just think about that, because it's very true. If something bothers you about somebody, you really have to you really have to look back at yourself and ask yourself why does it bother you? It's usually going to be related to some wound, and you may not even know it. You may not even like it. You'll have some. Okay, so I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was telling her, blah 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 blah, whatever I was whining about, right? And then as I'm talking to her, actually I was sending her an audio message. So as I'm sending the audio message, I'm talking it out to myself, right? And I'm just like, so maybe it's because when this ever happened to me, and then I start crying. I'm like, oh my God, like, and it was like there was like a abandonment issue or something related to why I was upset, why something bothered me. That some and I was like recording an audio message telling her this, and then I start crying because I've figured out the wound. I figured out the root. But the thing is, once I figured out the root and I cried it out, I was done. Like, it didn't bother me anymore. I just
Yeah.
laughed afterward.
Yeah. You leveled up.
Yeah. I mean, so you truly have to, like, if you find yourself whining about something, so, and you can't say that we're not, like, I'm not telling you that I'm perfect. I'm still doing the work, but I had to look at myself and find why was I bothered? Why was I hurt? What was at the root of that?
Yeah, I like that. And I think that the fact that we have people to talk to about this kind of stuff really helps because just because you were expressing this to somebody else through a voicemail, you were able to talk it through to yourself. And then because you were saying it out loud, it was an internal thing. You were like, oh man, this is what I sound like. This is what I'm saying. And you could say to yourself, what if someone else was saying this to me? What would I say? And then you're like, oh shit, bingo, this is what it is. You have that
Right.
realization, you could let it go and you're not trying to repress it or hide it or whatever.
Process, right? And it's like, I know that when we were in the chat, in the live chat for the, I don't know what episode, maybe a couple of episodes ago. Brandon had said something about don't be gossiping about people.
Yeah,
When we were talking about judgments, and you said don't be gossiping, which was a judgment in itself, Brandon.
I know.
Don't you judge people that are gossiping.
How dare you?
How dare you judge people that are gossiping?
I was just over Sharon.
But just to say that sometimes you have to have a friend that you can talk to that is trustworthy, that's going to be able to listen, because it's one thing to gossip about somebody and have zero desire to help that person or to help yourself, right? Because you're either gossiping about them because you don't like something that they did or said or whatever. Now, why don't you like it? Is it something that they really needs to be addressed with that person? Is it really that bad? Or is it something that points back to you? Now, if you have someone to share that with and you have someone to talk to who's trustworthy, who's not going to go tell somebody that you're talking about somebody behind their back, right? It's more about using that as a way to process. Because again, had I not said anything to her, I never would have figured it out. Not like I wouldn't have done that on my own necessarily, because I had to like be speaking out loud, talking about it. And maybe if you don't have anybody, do audio messages to yourself, just record like what you're thinking of, what your thoughts are, because if you have no one else, maybe that'll help. Right. But she was the person I spoke to about it. And